Hi guys, we are back with English Language 2, Unit 4, and I will be teaching relative clauses today. The title says relative clauses, but what is a clause? A clause is a smaller organizational unit than a sentence, so it is a grammatical term, next below a sentence. So clause is smaller than a sentence. A sentence can be constructed out of two, for example, clauses, one or two or more. Okay, we'll see on our examples and learn more about relative clauses. Okay, for the warm-up, match the sentences and photos. There are two photos, and I'd like you to think about the meaning and the differences between these two sentences. The first one says, my sister who lives in London got married. My sister who lives in London got married. Okay? So the meaning is not the same, but you can notice there are two commas, comma number one, comma number two, in the second example. Okay, let's think about them again. My sister who lives in London got married. My sister who lives in London got married. Any ideas about the differences? I'm going to help you a little bit. Let's start with the second one. It's easier. My sister, who, by the way, lives in London, I'm telling this as an additional information for you, got married. So, the initial sentence could have been my sister got married, and we added an extra information that my sister lives in London. Okay, let's get back to the first example. My sister who lives in London got married. My sister who lives in London, as opposed to my sister who lives in New York, got married. So, in the first example, I basically have two sisters, right? So, we can match this photo and this sentence. My sister who lives in London got married, but my sister who lives in New York is still single, for example. And the second is my sister, who by the way lives in London, got married. Okay, probably we don't think as much about commas and about these relative clauses and relative pronouns, which add more confusion to English sentences, okay? So relative pronouns are given here, and we'll go through them a little bit and analyze the details. So we have relative pronouns for people and for things or animals, okay? We use certain pronouns when we refer to subject of the verb, and others or similar ones or the same ones, we'll see, for object of the verb, okay? And also we have relative pronouns to express possession when somebody owns something, for example. Okay, let's start from the beginning. If we're dealing with people, we use who or that for the subject. For example, this is the man who owns the place. Or, this is the man that owns the place. Okay? You can think about how you would translate the sentence in your language. Okay? This is the man who owns the place. Or that owns the place. Okay, if we're talking about the object of a verb, we use who or whom or that. Okay? He is the man who I met at the party. Or, he is the man that I met at the party. Or, he is the man whom I met at the party. And there's an asterisk here saying can be omitted. So, can we say he is the man I met at the party? Yes, we can. He is the man I met at the party. I suppose by now you have enough of English let's say, feeling for the language, so you can be quite aware that this sentence without a pronoun is quite okay. Okay, and for possession, we use whose. This is Mr. Brown, whose son lives in Paris. This is Mr. Brown, whose son lives in Paris. Whose son? Mr. Brown's son lives in Paris. Whose son lives in Paris? Okay, when we refer to things or animals, we use, for subject of the verb, we use which or that. Example, give me the book which is behind you. Or, give me the book that is behind you. Very similar to this one, right? Maybe I can give a stylistic advice that you can use. It's better to use who and which in formal written and spoken English, and to use that in spoken English informal. Okay, so give me the book which is behind you, or that is behind you. This is subject of the verb. Let's see what we do with the object of the verb. We also use which or that. Okay, this is easy, it's the same. Have a look at the stamps which I bought yesterday. Or, have a look at the stamps that I bought yesterday. Okay. Can we omit the pronoun? Let's check it out. Have a look at the stamps I bought yesterday. Sounds good, right? Have a look at the stamps I bought yesterday. Yes, quite all right. So we can cross this one and do without a pronoun. And for possession, when we refer to things or animals, we use whose or of which. That's the place whose interior, the interior of which, is being redecorated. Okay, I should have read the first one. This is the place whose interior is being redecorated. Or, that's the place the interior of which is being redecorated. So, these are the relative pronouns. Basically, for people, we use who, whom. For possession, whose. And for things, we use which, that, and whose as well. So basically we deal with who, which, and whose, right? And we'll go a little bit deeper with types of relative clauses. So we will do, in the next couple of slides, we will do some more examples and refer to usage of the pronouns. Relative adverbs, okay, we also use them. For time, we use the adverb when. I'll never forget the day when I first saw the Alps from a plane. I'll never forget the day when I first saw the Alps from a plane. Okay, this is a clause and this is also a clause, right? So this is a relative clause. For place, we use where. The house where he lives is a Victorian one. The house where he lives is a Victorian one. For reason, for example, we use why. That's the reason he left his job. Or that's the reason why he left his job. Okay, so I suppose these examples are much easier for you than the previous ones. Okay, so we're coming to two types of relative clauses. The first type is called defining relative clauses. You don't have to remember the name, okay? Just when you hear defining, it rings a bell, right? It deals with some kind of definition, okay? So gives some kind of necessary information about the subject. For example, that's the girl who invited me. That's the girl who invited me. What kind of girl? Who invited me? This section here defines the girl, right? Gives some kind of definition or necessary information. A computer is a machine which I use every day. Looks like a definition, right? A computer is a machine which I use every day. Okay, so we had who for people, girl, and which for machine, which is a thing, right? Okay. If you think about the second example, can we omit the pronoun which? A computer is a machine I use every day. Yes, we can, because this is an object pronoun. Okay, let's see what happens with non-defining relative clauses. Non-defining relative clauses give some extra information about a person or a thing, which means we deal with commas now, okay? Let's see the examples. Mary Smith, who is my first neighbor, has a black cat. So, the definition, Mary Smith has a black cat, it's not a real definition, but the non-defining clause is the section between the commas which gives some additional information about, let's say, the subject here, the woman called Mary Smith. Mary Smith, who is my first neighbor, has a black cat. So you can erase this one and do without if necessary. Let's see, the second one refers to things. Okay, my PC, which I had bought on a discount, broke down last night. This is incorrect. Has broke down would be okay. So my PC, which I had bought on a discount, broke down last night. This, between commas, is an additional information. Okay. And there is a small thing to remember. When we have commas in a sentence, we don't use that. Okay? So when you see a comma, use WH pronoun. Who, which. Who or which. Know that. Mary Smith, that is, no, it's wrong. My PC, that I had bought, no, only which. In this case, that's the girl that invited me. It's okay. A computer is a machine that I use every day. It's okay. But whenever you have a comma, know that as a pronoun. Okay, we're going to do some practice. Here's the text, and your task is to fill in the blanks using the right relative pronoun. When, where, why, who, which, that, or whose. I suppose you're going to need some extra time, so my advice for you is to stop the video here, do it on your own, write the answers on a sheet of paper, and I'll go through this one with you again so we can check the answers afterwards. Okay, let's do the reading first. Jill Crowder is 65, has a fascinating job. She works at a leisure centre. She teaches aerobics at classes, attract women of all ages. Jill, notice comma, slim figure and fashionable hairstyle make her look younger, first attended a Keep Fit class 45 years ago. She was a student. Then she heard about classes, needed an instructor. That's she started this career. Jill's classes last 1 hour, include dance and step exercises. Jill has some tips for those who wish to stay young. Eat plenty of food is good for you. Try to spend time in places there is fresh air. Talk to young people. Ideas can open your eyes. Okay, probably some of the blanks are easy. And this is the way it should be done. Okay, I'm not going to do the reading. You can do it for yourself. And try to pay attention to sections where two options are possible. Okay? I'll get back to you with some more exercises on relative clauses. Thank you so much.